5 tech facts you didn't know. Number 1. The first computer bug was a moth that flew into a relay box at MIT in 1947. It was found by a team of engineers working on the Whirlwind project, a precursor to modern radar systems. They taped the dead moth to a paper and wrote first actual case of bug being found. No? 2. In the early days of programming, it was common for programmers to name variables with weird characters or symbols instead of using meaningful names. This made it difficult for anyone else to understand their code. So to solve this problem, one programmer named John von Neumann came up with a clever trick. He started naming variables with the letter names of the people who worked in the room where the computer was located. This made it easier for others to understand what the variables represented, and it caught on. Soon, programmers all over the world were naming variables with letter names. It was a simple but effective way to improve code readability and collaboration. 3. In the early 1980s, a group of engineers at Apple wanted to create a more powerful version of the Macintosh. They developed a prototype machine that had a 68,000 processor, which was much faster than the 6502 processor used in the original Mac. They also added a new feature called a virtual memory swap, which allowed the computer to use hard disk space as additional RAM. However, this prototype machine was never released to the public. It was eventually scrapped when Apple decided to focus on developing the Lisa computer, which was a more advanced machine that featured a full-fledged graphical user interface. Number 4. In the late 1990s, Sun Microsystems developed a network computer, a cheap, low-powered computer designed to be connected to the internet. The idea was that people would use these computers primarily for internet-based applications such as email, web browsing, and chat. But the network computer never took off because it was too late to the market. By the time it was released in 1997, the internet was already saturated with users, and companies were starting to develop more powerful, consumer-level computers. The network computer was quickly forgotten, and Sun Microsystems eventually went out of business. Number 5. Steve Jobs was never actually fired from Apple. He resigned from his position as CEO in 1985 after a power struggle with the board of directors. But he still owned a significant amount of stock in the company. In fact, he was the largest individual shareholder when he left. So even though he wasn't CEO, he still had a lot of power at Apple. He was able to use this power to push the board to hire him back as CEO in 1997, and he remained in that position until his death in 2011. If you like science and tech stories, subscribe for more updates.